samsaradava nalaliraloka Tranaya karuna gana ganatvam Praptasya kalyana gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Mahaprabhu ki Tana Nitya Gita Vaditra Madhyan Manasora Sena Romancha Kampa Shutaranga Vajo Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Shri Vigrahara Dhananechanana Shingarathan Mandiramarjanado Yuktasya bhaktam saniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Chaturvida Shri Bhagavad Prasada Swadana Triptan Haribaksha Sangran Kritraiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Shri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanamnam Pratikshanasvadanalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Nikunjayo no ratikeli sedhai Yayali bir yukti rapekshaniya तात्रातिदाक्षारतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् साक्षादारित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यतेव साध्वी किन्तु प्रभोय प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादा भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादा न गति कुतोऽपि जयन्तु वांस्तस्य यशस्विसाद्यं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य नित्यानंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Neelamadava, Radha Neelamadava, Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Jai Om Vishnu Pada Hamsa Pradika Acharya Shloka Shishima Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Divid Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Pada Hamsa Pradika Acharya Shloka Shishima Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridasa Thakur Ki Jai Krimi Sekho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dada Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Apara Ekadashi Ki Jai Ekadashi Varata Ki Jai Samavita Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Gaura Premanande All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glory to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya Prahlada Lada Daine Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha Shilatanka Nakhana Hai Ito Nasimha Parato Nasimha Yato Yato Yamitato Nasimha Bahe Nasimha Hidahe Nasimha Narasimham Adim Sharanam Paprade Tava Kara Kamalavare Nakam Abhuda Shingam Dalita Hiranya Hiranyakashipu Tanabringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanabringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Vrindaya Tulasodevaya Priyaya Keshwasaya Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vrindaya Tulasodevaya Priyaya Keshwasaya Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vrindaya Tulasodevaya Priyaya Keshwasaya Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai.
Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha Radha Krishna Seva Pabo Abhilashi Radha Krishna Seva Pabo Abhilashi Shri. જે તુમાર શરણ લો તારા વાંચ પૂર્ણ હોય. કૃપા કોરી કરો તારે વૃંદાવનવાસી. મોરા એ વિલાસ વિલાસ કુંજ દિયો વા. નયને હેરીબો સદા યુગલ રૂપરાસી. એની વેદાનાદારો સકીરનુગત કરો. સેવાધિકારીએ કરો નિજ દાસી. दीना कृष्ण दास कोई न मोरा होय. दीना कृष्ण दास कोई न मोरा होय. श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेम सदाए न बासी. श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदाए न बासी. नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी. नमो नमः यानि कानि च पापानि प्रमहत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे. यानि कानि प्रमहत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे. यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Vrindaya Tulasudevaya Priyaya Kishwasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavajaya Namo Namaha. Vrindaya Tulasudevaya Priyaya Kishwasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavajaya Namo Namaha. Vrindaya Tulasidevaya Priyaya Keshwasacha Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavajaya Namo Namaha. Vrinda Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Oh Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has wishes fulfilled. Bestow mercy upon him and make him resident of Vrindavana. My desire also grant me a residence in the precious groves of Shri Vrindavana Dham. Thus within my vision I shall always behold the beautiful person Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower, Karo Danso's virgin. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in the love of Shri Radha and Govinda Srimati Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. There are 10 offenses in the matter of chanting holy names that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for the propagation of the name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the order of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuant the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on strength of chanting holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritual activities, offering the Veda the fruit activities, karma, ganda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glory of the holy name. 10. To not complete faith in the chanting holy names, and to maintain material attachments in understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us of our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as the trees who can fulfill everyone, and they are full of compassion, the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Jeto Darpana Marjanam Pavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shriya Gairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purunarmita Sadhanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namagadi Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha Etadishi Tava Kripa Bhagavam Mamapi Durudeva Midisham Yaha Janina Nurakaha Trinatapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manatena Kirtanya Sada Harihi Na Thanam Na Chanam Na Sundarim Kavitam Va Jagati Shakamaye Mama Jammani Jammanishvare Pavata Bhaktir Haituki Tvai Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Pavam Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stitaduri Satisham Vichintaya Nayanam Karada Shrutaraya Vatanam Kadgada Rudaya Gira Pulakai Nichitam Apurkata Tavanama Grahane Pavishati Yuga itam nimishena chakshusha pravisha itam shunya itam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name ashirishava padaratam pinnashtumam atarshanam marmahatam karotuva yatha tatha va vitatatu lampato matprananathastu sa eva na paraha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which includes the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and distinguishes fire of conditional life, a repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays and benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grant all benediction human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govind. In these transcendental names are invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness enable us to easily approach by holy names, but I am so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, we can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Sahamarjananda, I'm your eternal servitor. Yet somehow I fall into the ocean, birth and death. Please pick me off this ocean of death, and place me as one of the atoms at lotus feet. Oh my Lord, while my eyes be decorated, tears of love flowing constantly when chanting holy name, while my voice choke up, or the hair of my body stand and a recitation of your name. Oh Govinda, feeling of separation consider the moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna, my Lord. He shall remain so if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam Ki Jai. Mangala Charana prayers ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachadate Shatarini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namini Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premade Shri Rupanuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinadarini Rupanuga Viruddha Bhasidanta Dvanta Harini Namo Gaura Kishoraya Saksha Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namini Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumistvam Nirdeshta Sajanapriya Vaishnava Sava Bhama Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupischa Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishin Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakham Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mamamanda Matergati Masarva Swapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vindarana Kalpajumadaha Shimadrana Gara Singhasanasto Shimadratha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtalebi Sevamano Smarami Shiman Rasarasarambi Vamsivata Tatastita Karsham Venusaner Gopir Gopinatha Shri Yestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Tadar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Shri Guru Pranam prayers ki jai, Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Satmasuka Praviksha Lakshariteshu Surabe Rapipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Samprama Sevimanam Govinda Madi Prusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kavanantam Aravinda Talayadaksham Parharvatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kantarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chantakala Savanamade Vamshi Ranankadam Panayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tirpanga Lalitam Yata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalindriya Vittimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimma Satu Chala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durabam Adurabam Atma Bhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayurathati Manaso Munipangavana Sopyasti Yat Prapada Simya Vichinta Tatve Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Sara Chaitum Jagadanta Koti Yachakti Rasti Jagadanta Jayaya Danta Antantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manujasta Teva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasana Yana Bhusha Suktayam Eva Nikama Pratitaistu Vanti Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasatpati Bhavitavis Tavirya Eva Nijarupataya Kaladi Goloka Eva Nivasata Kilatma Bhuto Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Chutta Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hidayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundarama Chintya Guna Swarupam Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Muti Shukalanya Menatishtan Navatarma Karor Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramakumam Yo Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Shri Brahmasmita Ki Jai. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or gopis. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock feather, with the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Sham Sundar is eternally manifest. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the finite universes, both spiritual and mundane. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure, unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane extending over thousands of millions of years. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord, whom I adore. I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency, possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidants, Shakis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized
by his ever blissful spiritual rasa. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Sham Sundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts, with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna, and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions. Oh, Premanandi Haribol. See, this is what we have to do every day. Glorify the Lord. What can be more glorification than this Brahma Samhita? So by hearing and reciting these glorifications of the Lord, one becomes dear to the Lord because he's very pleased by hearing this. And he's very pleased that we have taken an interest in him. Therefore, he'll take an interest in us because of our consistent recitations of his glories. This is what we should be doing all the time. Okay, glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadasya Yata Divyad Itaratas Chartesu Avigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adhikavayati Muyanti Yatsurayaha Tejo Varimadam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Misha Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So this again is glorification of Krishna and the Srimad Bhagavatam. O my Lord, O Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes, creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen on fire, or land seen on water. Only because of him did the material universe is temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2 Dharma Pujita Kaitra Vocha Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapo Trayan Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimvaparir Ishwaraha Sadyo Hridi Avarudyate Tra Kriti Vihi Sususavistakshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality, distinguished from illusion, for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold mysteries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by his culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3 Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam sukhamukad amrita dravya samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam rasam alayam mahur ahoraska bhuvibhavukaha. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Gaur Premanandi Haribol. It's a wonderful thing to be able to recite these glorifications of Lord Krishna every day. The Lord appreciates it, believe me. Okay, so we're Canto 3, Shrimad Bhagavatam Granth Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 3, Chapter 9, verse number 18. Yasmad Babemyaham Api Dviparadra Dishanyam. Yasmad Babemyaham Api Dviparadra Dishanyam. Adyasita Sakala Luka Namaskritam Yat. Tepi Tapo Bahu Savo Varurut Samanas. Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Dimakaya Tubhyam. Yasmat. From whom? Bibemi. Fear. Aham. I. Api. Also. Dri Para Ardha. Up to the limit of 4,300,000,000 times 2 times 30 times 12 times 100 solar years. That equals Brahma's duration of life, 311 trillion years. Disinyam, place. Adyasita, situated in. Sakala Loka, all other planets. Namaskritam, honored by. Yat, that. Tepe, underwent. Tapa, penances. Bahusava, many, many years. Avarut samana. Avarurut samana. Desiring to obtain you. Tasmai, unto him. Nama, I do offer my obeisances. Bhagavate, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adhimakaya, unto him who is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Tubhyam, unto your lordship. This whole chapter of prayers by Lord Brahma, glorifying Krishna. And Lord Brahma is the most powerful person in the material world. But see, he also understands that he's subordinate to the Lord. And this whole chapter, number 9 of Canto 3, is Brahma prayers for creative energies, just glorifying the Lord over and over again. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Your Lordship, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you who are indefatigable. Indefatigable means persistently tireless. In other words, he never gets tired. I offer my respectful obeisance unto you who are indefatigable, time, and the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 parardas, although I am the leader of all other planets in the universe, and although I have undergone many, many years of penance for self-realization, still I offer my respects unto you. So what is a parardas? Well, it is half of 311 trillion years. So 2 parardas is 311 trillion years, and some more numbers, which represents the duration of Brahma's life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Brahma is the greatest personality in the universe because he has the longest duration of life. He is the most respectable personality because of his penance, influence, prestige, etc. And still, he has to offer his respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Therefore, it is incumbent upon all others who who are far, far below the standard of Brahma, to do as he did and offer respects as a matter of duty. Now, if Lord Brahma is offering respect to Krishna, what should we be doing? Right? So, Lord Brahma is the most important person in the whole material universe, and he recognizes his subordination at the lotus feet of the Lord. So that should be our position also, even more so. Okay. So what it says here is Lord Brahma offers respects as a matter of duty. In other words, it's something we must do, just like every day we should recite these prayers glorifying Krishna. And we should offer all our respect, our humility, our service, our everything to glorifying Krishna and serving him with love and devotion. That is real life. That is the life of Archana, worshiping the Lord through choice prayers, through service, through offering food, to respecting the sanctified food that the Lord gives back to us, going on Sankirtan, preaching to people. This is our real life. This is our real occupational duty. Duty means something you must do. You cannot deny it. Therefore, it is incumbent upon all others who are far, far below the standard of Brahma to do as he did and offer respects as a matter of duty. So, what are we doing every day? We're reading the Brahma Samhita, the glorification of the Lord. We're reciting it. We're trying to understand the English words, the translation of it in English, so there's no doubt in our mind about what it's all about. It's all about glorifying Krishna's transcendental qualities and showing our loving devotion for the Lord and appreciating these qualities that no one else can emulate, that no one else comes close, not even Brahma or Shiva come close to emulating the potencies and the pastimes and the loving relationships that Krishna has with his devotees. All of this is supernatural, transcendental experiences. And this is what keeps a devotee alive and enthusiastic and always positive, never negative. Because everything about Krishna is wonderful. Everything about Krishna is transcendental. Everything about Krishna is full of ecstatic potencies. So this is what our mind, our senses, our activities should be focused on. Then everything else can be done without anxiety and fear, because we know Krishna promises to protect us. Krishna promises to give us knowledge by which we can make the right decisions. Krishna is always there to help his devotee, just like he helped Arjuna and the Pandavas and Devaki and all these different devotees. So he can help us today in the same way. We should be convinced of that. We should hear about it on a daily basis. So we're going to hear something very interesting now. If we look at the Avajanti mam mudha manasim tanam asritaha param bhavam ajananto mamai mama bhuta maheshwara. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. So this is bewildering for the karmis, for the scientists, for the philosophers, for the speculators. Krishna appears as if he's an ordinary person, and this completely bewilders the karmis. the materialists. And they don't think that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They think that he's just an ordinary person like you and me. But yet, when they hear about Krishna's transcendental activities, again, they don't believe it. They don't believe that a little child can lift up Govardhan Hill. He can lift up thousands and millions of Govardhan Hills at once if he wants to. It's not that he can only lift one Govardhan Hill. See? This is the problem. They don't realize the potency of the Lord, whereas we're studying that every day. Not only the pastimes of the Lord, but the potency of the Lord. I mean, just imagine, there's not just one universe. This whole thing that we're seeing, the scientists are trying to measure it and everything, and they have not been able to completely measure this one universe. There are billions of other universes with suns, like the sun we have here, even more powerful suns. And all that energy is coming from this one person. Janmada Seyata Niviyad Itaratas Charteso Avigya Sparat. Dene Brahma Hirdaya Adhikave Muyanti Atsuraya. It's all coming from this one person called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears sometimes as a baby with very soft skin and playing in the yard of his father and mother in Vrindavan. And it's bewildering to the materialists. They cannot understand how this little kid could be God. That was Indra's problem. He said, "What? This little pipsqueak is stopping my worship, and therefore I'll teach these people a lesson." He calls the Samantaka clouds. These are terrible rain clouds, and for a whole week there's inundation, there's a deluge of water. But yet, Krishna lifts up Govardhan Parvat, a mountain, and uses it as an umbrella to protect the residents of Vrindavan. And eventually Indra realizes, wait a minute, I misunderstood this little kid here. He is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he comes and he surrenders. You should read his prayers when he surrenders to the Lord. He glorifies the Lord. He becomes, all his puffed up nonsense goes away. He becomes very, very submissive. So these are the things we have to meditate on to understand that Krishna is the infinite and the finite at the same time. He's far away, but yet he's very close. He's in our heart as Paramatma. If we don't understand that, we'll never become confident that we can be a devotee. We'll never become confident that we can bypass all complications and difficulties in life. We will not be confident that we can be Krishna conscious throughout our whole life. We have to understand God himself is right in our heart. And he's there as the source of all energy in this body, as the source of all knowledge. He can reveal all knowledge to us. You don't even have to study. He reveals it. Tesam satstayuktanam bhajatam pratipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yenam upayantite. He says, for those who are worshiping me with love and devotion, I give them the knowledge by which they come to me. Right? So I give them the knowledge by which they come. He doesn't say they have to study real hard to understand who I am. See, this is called revelation theology. Revelation theology is God reveals himself to the devotee. The devotee doesn't have to study, doesn't have to make notes, doesn't have to write papers. It's all revealed. And when it's revealed, that's it. You never forget it. And you become confident that God is in my heart, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So let's read some of this purport, because this is the 9th chapter, 11th verse. Abhijananti mam mudha manasimtana masritaha param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend into human form. So when Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, he did not have a human form. He appeared as Narayana, but a baby Narayana with 4 arms and so forth, and with all the opulences of Narayana. And then Devaki got freaked out. He said, "Oh my God! If Kamsa comes down and sees this baby who looks exactly like Narayana, he'll kill him." And then she prayed, "Please, please, change yourself into a common baby." So Krishna changes himself into a 2-armed form that looks exactly like an ordinary baby. And when Kamsa comes, instead of seeing Krishna, because his father takes him to Vrindavan and exchanges him with the newborn baby of Yasodamai, who is Durga Mata. Actually, it's Yogamaya, but when Yogamaya manifests herself, the karmis see like Kamsa, they see Yoga, they see Durga. The devotees see the devotees see Yogamaya, and the karmis, they see Durga. So anyway, when Kamsa comes, he grabs this little girl, and they try to convince her, "Wait a minute, it's supposed to be a boy. You got the wrong person." He doesn't care. Grabs the little girl and tries to smash her on the ground and kill her, but instead of that, she jumps up into the air and manifests her form as Durga Mata to Kamsa. It scares the heck out of him and says, "You fool. Krishna is far away now, and this prophecy that he's going to kill you is actually going to happen." And Kamsa is crushed. He's heartbroken. He feels like his whole world is falling apart. And he actually apologizes to Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj that he killed their 6 firstborn babies, killed them. 7th baby, which was Balaram, seemed to be a abortion, not an abortion, but some kind of, well, he was transferred, so it seemed as if that 7th child was not alive, but he was alive. He was transferred to the womb of Rohini, another wife of Nanda Maharaj. And now the 8th child is born. Instead of being a little boy, it's a little girl. But now she jumps up into the air and manifests this gigantic form as Durga Mata and scares the heck out of Kamsa. So he becomes humble. He apologizes. He frees Vasudeva and Devaki from prison. But when he goes back and associates with his demoniac friends, they say, "Oh, wait a minute. This is just some little blip on the radar here. We're gonna correct this now. We'll go and kill every newborn child." And then Kamsa gets all puffed up again with false expectations and puts Devaki and Vasudeva in prison again, and gives them the mandate: go and kill every newborn child in my kingdom. So we see how dangerous bad association is. How a person, even though they might even have some deep realizations, they can be twisted back to becoming a demon, even after the realizations that they have. So bad association is like the worst thing you can do in your life. But see, today, because of the internet, the worst people in the world come into your life. and you hear about them, you see them, you talk to them. People that normally you would never even let them enter your house, but they enter your mind and your life through the internet and through other, you know, media outlets, television, and so forth. Okay, so let's read this purport. Who wants to read first? So this is the 9th chapter, 11th verse, Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna. Purport. From the other explanations of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. The Personality of Godhead, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation, cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality, as is confirmed in Brahma Samhita. He is the
Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord. There are many Ishwaras, controllers, and one appears greater than another. In the ordinary management of affairs in the material world, we find some official or director, and above him there is a secretary, and above him a minister, and above him a president. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Krishna is the supreme controller. There are many controllers, undoubtedly, both in the material and spiritual world. But Krishna is the supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna, and his body is Sachit Anand,
So who's saying that?
non-material.
Brahma is saying that. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karana. Brahma is the most intelligent person in the whole universe. And he's validating that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. No one is equal to him, no one is greater than him. And Brahma is taking a subordinate position to him, although he's the most powerful person in the material world. Go ahead.
Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in previous verses. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Although he is not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here Manusitam because he is acting just like a man. A friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man. But actually, his body is Sachid Ananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge, absolute. This is confirmed in the Vedic language also, Sachit Ananda Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge.
Gopalata
Upanishad 1.1. There are other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tam ekam Govindam. You are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. Sachid Ananda Vigraha, and your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss and eternality. Eternality. Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.38.
So let's just stop there for a second. See, here, this is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is definitely the most profound scripture in the history of the world. Srimad Bhagavatam is an extension of it. But Bhagavad Gita is Krishna talking about himself to Arjuna, his dear devotee. There's nothing better than this. If you want to know what the truth is, all you have to do is read this Bhagavad Gita carefully. And we should be reading it the rest of our life. Because it's like a kaleidoscope. There's many, many levels of deep understanding in this one book, and especially the purports that Prabhupada has written, which is basically a summary of all the previous acharyas' purports. You cannot get anything better than this if you're interested in knowing what the truth is about who you are, who God is, how you can be liberated from the cycle of birth and death, etc. There's another point I want to make, and we should understand this. Because Krishna is present in the heart of every living entity as Paramatma, we see everyone as a walking, talking mandir, temple of the Lord. We don't see white bodies, black bodies, yellow bodies, this body, that body. We see the presence of God in the heart of even the worst person in the world, and in the heart of every living entity. That is the universal vision of Krishna that the devotee has. Therefore, the devotee shows respect to everyone. How can you respect people that, let's say, hate you, because you're not seeing their body, you're not seeing their subtle mind or intelligence. You're seeing the presence of God in their heart, just like God, the same God is present in my heart, in your heart, as Paramatma. This is real knowledge. Real knowledge is understanding, one, that there's a major difference between matter and spirit. So you understand that I am not this body, because this body is made of matter. I am the soul, the eternal soul that's present in this body. It's called the Jivatma. And not only that one soul is there, my soul is there, Krishna in the form of Paramatma is also there in my heart. So I am carrying, or I am associating, whether I know it or not, with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I have an eternal soul. This body is not who I am. The body is always changing, and it's eventually going to die. These are the laws of material nature. If you begin to see things like that, and that's the truth, your whole life changes. There's no more anxiety, there's no more fear, there's no more doubt, because we know that God is present in our heart. And we also know that God is present in the heart of all living entities, the bugs, the plants, the aquatics, etc. Now, that universal vision that a devotee will develop of the omnipresence of God has very, very specific, let's say, corollaries to it, or realizations that go along with it. And I'm going to read it. I'm just jumping to this right away. This is near the end of the purport of this verse, and it says, Jiva Goswami, commenting on this verse, says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Paramatma, is situated in the moving and the non-moving entities as the Supersoul. So any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archa Murti, or the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities, is uselessly worshipping the form of the Lord in the temple. There are three kinds of devotees of the Lord, and the neophyte is in the lowest stage. The neophyte devotee gives more attention to the deity in the temple than to other devotees. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that because Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, every body is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. So as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, he should similarly properly respect each and every body in which the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. This is real knowledge. This is who we are if we clear away all the junk that has entered in our mind due to modern education and publicity and all that stuff. See? Now, there's another point I want to make. I have no problem with two women loving each other or two men loving each other. I have no problem with it. I saw it myself. My mother and her auntie, my great auntie, they lived together 40 years and they loved each other. But there was no illicit sex. There was simply this love and respect. My mother actually saved her auntie's life. It's a long story, but so there's nothing wrong with two women living together and loving each other, or two men. What is wrong is illicit sex. So we have nothing. I mean, if two people are holding hands, fine. That's the way they want to live. That's okay. But if they give up the illicit sex and just focus on the love and the mutual respect and so forth, there's nothing wrong with it. You see? You see how everything gets ruined by meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit sex. You give those four things up, then all the relationships you have become sattvic. As long as those four things, and especially the illicit sex, is present, it's rajasic and tamasic. And it's going to complicate everything. Just like all the pronouns, 105 pronouns now. Why is that? Because people are speculating about who they are. You can go on, there could be 1,000 pronouns in the next 10 years, right? That doesn't solve any problem, it just complicates the problem. The only pronoun should be, I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. Then it becomes all simple and straightforward. And then you can actually have real love and peace and happiness. You see how as soon as you give up the four self-destructive habits, meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, everything becomes very clear and very simple and very direct relationship with Krishna. This is what we should be preaching. This is what we should be advocating. We're not against anybody. How can we be? We just said here that everyone, one offers respect. It says that Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Everybody is the embodiment of the temple of the Supreme Lord. So as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, he should similarly properly respect each and every body in which the Paramatma dwells. Well, he dwells also in the body of the snake, the rat, the elephant, right? So, how do we see these things? Well, that's philosophy, darshan, how you see things. We should see that God is present in the heart of every living entity and offer our respect. That doesn't mean we go and kiss the lion or the tiger. It means that we give them respect because they have certain powers that we don't have, and those powers were given to them by Krishna. There's a history of this one black woman who ran away from her parents in Africa because they were going to, in Africa they have this ceremonial thing where they cut the sexual organ of the child so that she can never experience orgasm. And don't ask me why they do it, but they do it. So this girl, when she heard that they were going to do this to her, she ran away. And she just kept running and running. This is in Africa. And eventually she became exhausted and she fell asleep under some tree. When she woke up, there was either a lion or a tiger right in front of her, looking at her. And she was shocked, and she thought, okay, I'm finished. But the animals don't attack when they're not hungry. So that wild animal was just looking at her, and then he walked away. And then somehow or other, she was able to come to a city, and later on she became a famous model, and she wrote her history. You could look her up. I forget what her name is. She's still alive. So here we see how Krishna can help even the most, let's say, vulnerable person if they have a pure heart. Right? She did not want to be mutilated like that, so she ran away. And somehow or other, she became a famous model. Okay, so this is what we should be learning. How to see the presence of Paramatma in the heart of every living entity. Then we begin real life, if we see like that, if we understand that. So we'll continue in this purport. This is a wonderful purport, 9th chapter, 11th verse. We'll stop there today. Are there any questions?
Like this weekend we went to the Balaji temple, our temple. The new deities have come, right? So a bunch of us were trying to move
Lift
them.
the deities.
That's when, 4, 5, or 6 of us couldn't even lift like one small base of a Dvajastham, forget about. And then that's when we were thinking about, wow, it's so hard for us to just move few steps. What to speak of what the Lord did? I mean, just magnificent.
Well, it's not what the Lord did. It's what one person did. They made a mistake. We told him for like 1 year the maximum weight that the deity could be. He ignored everything, and now we're stuck. We're going to probably have to get new deities, unless we figure out a way, because the second floor cannot support such heavy weight. It's not possible. Anyway, we're double checking what is the real weight of it. But the person who ordered everything, who kept saying yes, 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 didn't listen to a damn thing we said. And that's why now we have this dilemma where the weight of the deities is way over what the floor can manage. And then you have all these other things that go along with it. Right? So this is because, unfortunately, we're dealing sometimes with people who are completely in illusion. It's our own fault. We should never have trusted him. Even though he's a big donor and everything, but he completely blew it. But that's all right. Balaji has a plan, and it's going to be revealed. It's very interesting. I have different ideas of how it's going to end up, but anyway, we have to have complete faith in the Lord. We have to realize that we make mistakes, and that the only person who can really help us is Krishna. So we'll find a solution to this one way or the other.
Yeah, no, I was just referring to the fact that we couldn't
You
even
couldn't even
lift
lift
that.
it, yeah.
And then, when we hear about Govardhan Leela,
Yeah.
just
the
it's
whole mountain.
unimaginable that a human will be able to do it.
That's why people don't believe it. They say, well, I can't do that, then how can he do it? He's a little pipsqueaks, and I can't do that. I'm working out, I'm at the gym and everything, and I can lift, 100, 200 pounds, 300 pounds. How can I lift the whole mountain? I don't believe it. It's not possible. Because they don't understand how powerful Krishna is. And Krishna has what's called ekarasa, whether he's in the body of a little baby or whether he's in the body of Mahavishnu, he has the same power. that the little baby Krishna has the same power as Mahavishnu does, the same potencies. This is philosophy. This is Krishna consciousness. People can't believe it. Why? Because they are overwhelmed by materialistic knowledge. Therefore, it's unimaginable to them that someone could be so powerful.
So, Maharaj, in this verse, we're talking about seeing Krishna in everybody's heart, a Paramatma. So, but I mean, sometimes we are acting in different modes throughout our life or throughout the day. So, at certain point, we probably carried over by some mode of ignorance or passion or ignorance. We cannot see that Paramatma or something, somebody else, and we end up having either fight or quarrel or anything like conflicts or something. But at some point, when we are in mode of goodness, maybe we repent on ourselves. Okay, I think we overreact on that. Maybe we should not have done. So, the same person, but he behaves differently at different time with other persons. So, how do we actually be? So, being a mode of goodness is that's a, I think, solution that we always, being a mode of goodness, we always see everybody as a Paramatma and these things. But to remain in mode of goodness again, it's sometimes uncontrollable. We think that it's not artificially we can
you
bring.
have to come to class on a regular basis, and you hear these things, not once like you heard it once 10 years ago. You have to hear every day, because our disease is forgetfulness. In one ear, out the other ear, right? In between the two ears, there's empty space. No, we have to repeat. Repetition is very important in spiritual life, right? Just like every day we're reciting Brahmasamhita prayers, we're reciting the Guru Pranama prayers, we're reciting the prayers glorifying the spiritual master, this thing, that thing. Why? Because our disease is forgetfulness. Okay. Now, how does Krishna consciousness act on a person? There are 3 psychological steps before you act. They are thinking, feeling, willing. You think about something. Oh, it'd be nice if I had a Tesla. Then you feel how great it would be to be able to sit in a Tesla and see my neighbor jealous. And then you say, I must have the Tesla, otherwise I'll never be happy. Then you buy the Tesla. You see. Now, I don't have anything against people buying Teslas, but I'm just telling you. There are 3 psychological steps. Krishna consciousness can act before you reach the 3rd step. If you have been regularly hearing, chanting, taking prasadam, going on Sankirtan and so forth, you'll be able to stop yourself. But if you cannot stop yourself, then you will always be in trouble. Every problem is solved over time, because people get old and die, right? So all you have to do is just be patient. Every problem is going to be solved without you being the solver. And then whenever you get angry, well, there's bona fide anger and there's non-bona fide anger. Non-bona fide anger is based on bodily attachments. Bona fide anger is based on people who insult or in some way or other try to attack Krishna or Guru. Then you have righteous anger. Just like Hanuman, he sets fire to Lanka, kills so many of the demons. That was righteous anger. Right? But the unrighteous anger is when you're doing things like that for your bodily, let's say, bodily identification. Then just like someone insults you, and then okay, now you insult that person, and then you get into a fight. See, all those things are based on the body. It's not based on Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness can act on the three subtle steps before action to stop yourself from doing something stupid. Without Krishna consciousness, you have no let's say, protection. You'll go first step, second step, third step, and you'll insult the other person, then they'll insult you, and then you get in a fight. You have to learn to tolerate things. But your toleration factor increases the more you chant and the more you hear about Krishna. And it decreases by the less you hear about Krishna and the less you chant. So once you're hearing and chanting properly, you can tolerate almost anything. But if you're not regularly doing that, your toleration goes down, and even a little bit of agitation, immediately there's going to be a fight. Okay, so we'll stop right there. Continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Who would like to sing? You gotta fix that. You have to have a screwdriver to fix it. Yeah, that's an ad hoc way to do it. It's not. You need to bring a screwdriver. Yeah.
You want to sing?
I'll take a look. Oh, okay. All right, I'll wait till you do that. Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Sorry you have to go through all this. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we need the granite bowls for crushing. Are they there? Still have more. Yeah, I'll find out where they are. Okay, go ahead.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Bandhu Mui Savadana Ma Te
Bandhu Mui Savadana Mate
Bandhu Mui Savadana Ma Te
Bandhu Mui Savadana Mate
Jahara Prasade Bai E Bhavatoriya Jai
Chanara Prasade Bhai E Bhavatoriya Jai
Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te
Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Kya
Guru
Arana Kuriyo Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Utama Gati Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha चक्षुदानो दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेम भक्ति जहा होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते वेदे ज्ञाय जहाँ रचरितो वेदे ज्ञाय जहाँ रचरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु राधा मजनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु राधा मजनार बंधु लोकेनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना आहा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पाद जया आहा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पाद जया ए बेदास जुषुक त्रिभुवाना ए बेदास जुषुक त्रिभुवाना ए बेदास जुषुक त्रिभुवाना जयो प्रभुपदा जयो प्रभुपदा जयो प्रभुपदा शिल प्रभुपदा जयो गुरुदेवा जयो गुरुदेवा जयो गुरुदेवा जयो गुरुदेवा नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी निति नामिने padaya Krishna prasthaya bhutale Srimati Bhakti Danta Swami Itidam Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Bhuti Vaishnava, Namacharya Bam Shukla Ghosh, Chaitanya Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samapurna, Shri Vrindavan Dan, Mathura, Jagannath Purina, Tulasi Devi, Bhakti Devi, Maya Maya Samaveda Bhakti Gaura Premanand, The lotus feet of our spiritual master, the only way by which we can attain the pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet to be pure. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of tears suffering and obtain the mercy first. My only wish is to have my conscience purified by the words emanating from lotus pond. Attachment to his lotus feet is most excellent. He opens my darkened eyes, fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, the birth after birth. From him, ecstatic come from me. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing this character. Our spiritual master, the ocean of mercy, dependent over the Lord and Master of the world. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread throughout all the three worlds. We take shelter of lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Bol.